Hola, buenas tardes. Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Gonzalez, and I'm the program coordinator at the National Museum of the American Indian in New York. I'm so excited to be here today to celebrate Dia de los Muertos with you. Before we get started, I would like to gratefully acknowledge the Native peoples on whose ancestral homelands we gather, as well as the diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their home here today. I'm speaking to you from New York, the homeland of the Lenape people. I am grateful to them for their stewardship of the land that is currently my home. The National Museum of the American Indian has long celebrated our annual Dia de los Muertos festival at our museums in Washington, D.C. and in New York. Our museum in Washington, D.C. is open to the public again, although our museum in New York is still closed. However, due to health and safety guidelines, we are limiting the amount of visitors to the museum each day and continue to hold our events and programs online. We are so excited to be able to celebrate Dia de los Muertos virtually with every single one of you. Before we begin, I want to share a few notes on today's program. A recording will be available on YouTube for anyone who doesn't have a chance to tune in tonight. We'll be dropping links, information, and resources in the chat throughout the night. We're encouraging folks to use the chat feature to let us know where you're tuning in from, how you're celebrating Dia de los Muertos, and to submit questions for our monarch butterfly experts. We will make every effort, but we may not be able to get all your answers, all your questions and comments answers today. I want to share a brief overview of Dia de los Muertos and some of the traditions that me and my family have. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a festival that is celebrated from midnight October 31st through November 2nd by people in Mexico, parts of Central and South America, and in many Latinx communities across the U.S. as a way to honor family and friends that have passed away. This celebration originates from the indigenous peoples and cultures of Mesoamerica, including the Mexica, the Aztec, and the Maya. We know people celebrate Dia de los Muertos in many different ways, and our festival is just one way for people to come together and acknowledge this celebration. But many communities and families have different traditions. Like in my family, it's a busy time where my mom is cooking, everyone is cooking, and they're coming together as a family. This year, slightly different, we're doing it virtually. But I love just seeing my mother cook. You know, she loves cooking her mole poblano with yellow rice. And sometimes my grandmother, or other family members will send us mole from Oaxaca, which is where my family is from. And I enjoy eating that mole so much. So it's a real treat. Plus, I love eating pan de muerto with café de olla or with a hot chocolate. Just making me hungry right now. Qué rico. Well, I'm excited to be here with you all tonight, and I hope you're just as excited to kick off this night. Now, we're going to have a few experts talking with us tonight about one of the most iconic symbols of Dia de los Muertos, the monarch butterfly. Joining us this evening, we will have Sylvia Shish-Michelle of Smithsonian Gardens, Talisa Haurauki, artist and philosopher, Alfonso Alonso with the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute Center for the Conservation and Sustainability. First, to talk more about the habitats the monarch look for and how we attract other monarchs around the Smithsonian and how you can make your own garden into a butterfly way station, we have Sylvia from Smithsonian Gardens. We have a video recorded at our museum in DC and our Cultural Resource Center in Suitland, Maryland, that goes into all of this.
Smithsonian Gardens extends the museum experience in a public garden setting. Our department is responsible for maintaining the grounds and the interior plants around all the museums of the Smithsonian Institution. And our goal is to engage, inform, and inspire the visitors about plants and gardening in general.
We are one of 2 museums that have no ceilings or walls and house a number of different living collections.
Hi, this bed we're looking at is considered a monarch way station. A monarch way station is a garden environment that provides shelter, protection, food, host, and nectar plants for pollinators. This milkweed growing here, common milkweed, is the host plant for monarch butterflies. With a monarch way station garden, you need to have about 100 square feet of space that's located in full sun for optimal conditions for pollinators. It's also important that we garden organically and avoid the use of pesticides and herbicides around these beneficial pollinators. It's also important that you leave the vegetation up each winter as they lay their eggs in the stems and leaves of the previous year's plants.
All monarchs start out as eggs, tiny little eggs that you'll often find on the underside of monarch plant leaves. Once those eggs hatch, there will be caterpillars that will chew on those leaves, building strength and bulk. And they're beautiful little striped guys and girls that will chew their way through the milkweed plant until they've formed enough energy to go what's into the chrysalis phase. And you can tell that they're about to do that when they start to form a J shape. That means they're about to go into their metamorphosis where they turn into adults. So in the chrysalis form, beautiful gold bands on these green cocoons, and after a few days to a few weeks, the butterfly will emerge from its chrysalis. It will either lay more eggs or it will continue down on its migration. Here we have a number of monarchs that we've safely captured throughout our campus down in the DC area. And what we're doing is we're helping catalog populations that we find as they migrate south towards the winter into Texas and Mexico. Here you can see we've got a healthy little guy here. We open up the wings, we see those small black dots that are actually scent glands that tell us that they're male. If those scent glands are absent, that means it is a female. We record that. On the outside of the wing, we take this small mylar sticker, and it has an individual number, and we record where we found it, the date, and if it's male or female. It doesn't do any harm. It doesn't affect any of the flight patterns, and then we release it right afterwards.
Today we're going to be making a container garden that someone could use on their deck or patio or front porch to attract pollinators to their yard. A host plant is a plant that the caterpillar or larva would feed on when they first emerge out. The one for the monarch butterfly is milkweed or asclepias, and then the nectar plants are the ones with the bright colored flowers on it that attract butterflies when they're making their migration and flying through the area. They're feeding on the nectar to build up reserves. Most of these perennials are fall blooming plants. It would be good if you could put in plants that bloom all season, and in particular the fall ones are important for monarch butterflies. It's good to have a variety of colors. Insects and butterflies in particular see flowers differently than humans do, but they are attracted to white, yellow, orange, pink, and lavender shades of flowers. These plants require full sun. They'll attract more pollinators and butterflies in a full sun location. You also want to get flowers that have clusters of blooms that are bright in color so that they can sort of hone in or target on those flowers. If the pot's going to be viewed from the front or against a wall or something like that, we just want to put the taller plants in the back or the center, and then kind of put the trailing or fuller plants in front of it to fill out the front of the pot and have the color facing outward. Well, after we plant them, we're going to fertilize them and give them a good drink of water. We are in the fall season right now, so we just want to water them about once a week. And then if we overwinter these plants, because they are perennials, we'll water them again about once a week throughout the summer and growing season. Usually when frost hits, most of these will sort of brown out and die down. It's important that we leave the foliage up on the plants and we leave the stems up. A lot of insects lay their eggs and they overwinter in that old vegetation. We want to leave it up so they can emerge in the springtime, and then we'll cut it down in like mid-March timeframe.
That's fascinating. I know anyone who has had the chance to see a monarch around their home in the past few weeks or seen part of the migration, it's a really special experience. Here to tell us a little bit more about that migration, we have Alfonso Alonso. Alfonso is the Managing Director of International Field Programs with the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute Center for Conservation and Sustainability within the National Zoo. As a conservation biologist, he is passionate about finding how species of plants and animals are distributed in different ecosystems. Alfonso, welcome.
Thank you, Kerry. As you can all see, this is a beautiful monarch butterfly. This is a male, and as you can see, it has very bright orange colors. And this reminds us of the fall, in the season in which we are right now, where all the leaves of the trees are turning either red or yellow. The monarch has very bright colors, orange. And the main reason why it has orange colors is because as a caterpillar, it feeds, as we were told a few minutes ago, it feeds on a oh, it's not switching. I'm having a technical issue here. It's not changing. Oh, maybe I need to do this. Okay. It feeds on a milkweed, on a milkweed plant. And milkweed plants do not like to be eaten by any insects or by any animals per se. So the milkweeds produce a chemical known as a cardiac glycoside that prevents the food plant to be eaten by any animals. But monarchs are not only able to feed on this plant, but are also able to sequester these chemicals for their own protection. And as it was shown by my major professor, Lincoln Brower, he demonstrated that if a blue jay will feed on a monarch, it eventually will take it out of his stomach because it will taste bad. And the objective is for the bird to learn that this butterfly tastes bad, so in the future will not eat more monarchs. So it's a way in which this orange color, this fall color, allows the butterflies to be protected. And as was mentioning, this is the time where the monarch butterflies are migrating. They go from North America into Mexico. All the butterflies that are east of the Rocky Mountains will migrate south to Mexico, and they start doing that in September, October. And as you probably have seen them, some of them were passing by through the DC area or the location where you are, and they eventually arrive into Mexico in early November, at this time of the year. The butterflies that are west of the Rocky Mountains will migrate to sites in California where they also form overwintering colonies. Monarchs in Mexico spend 5 months without eating anything. So the butterflies, when they are migrating right now, and as we saw from the previous presentation, are feeding on nectar as they migrate because they need to have a lot of fat accumulated in their bodies so they can last 5 months without eating. So as the monarchs approach Mexico, they actually gain weight. And when they arrive to Mexico, they are very big, fat butterflies. They stay there for 5 months, all the way to March or early spring. And then they will start going back to the United States. What is amazing is that it's the same individual that flew from Canada or the northern US, is the same individual that spends 5 months in Mexico, the same individual flies back into the southern US. As milkweed plants start to come out, these are representation of the distribution of 3 milkweed plants that are found in the south. And in April, March, April, the butterflies will arrive there, will find the milkweeds, they will mate, lay their eggs, they reproduce, and then they will die. And the next generation will continue to move north in May, and then they will continue to find milkweed as it continues to get warmer in the northern latitudes, and then more milkweeds start to come. Then they will continue to reproduce and continue to migrate north. In June, July, you can see how it's getting very populated in the central states in the US, and then eventually move into the New England area. And by August, September, the butterflies are all over this area and getting ready in October to fly back to Mexico. What is amazing about this migration is that they arrive into the places in Mexico exactly at the same time as the Day of the Dead. And so for many generations, the local people, when they see these butterflies migrating and arriving into Mexico, they have interpreted that as their ancestors going back to the ancestors that had passed away, as they're coming back to visit with them. So the areas that the butterflies form in Mexico, we call them sanctuaries. Places is a place that is extremely rich in beauty and spiritual value because of not only the butterflies and the trees and the other plants and animals that live there, but the value that this has for the local people in terms of their connection to the Day of the Dead. So for many generations, people celebrate the arrival of the monarch. And these are just some examples in which you can see the monarch butterfly very well represented when offers are made during the Day of the Dead, and dresses and all sorts of different ways in which the monarch has linked to this very important traditional custom in Mexico. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing all of that information, Alfonso. The monarch and the migration is pretty special. Finally, we have Delisa Jaurique talking about the cultural importance of the monarch butterflies in Dia de los Muertos. Delisa is a contemporary interdisciplinary artist and scholar whose work is prompted by conceptual concerns, including change, language, interpretation, understanding, and power. She is a recipient of grants from the Indian Collective and the United States Artists Relief Fund, and she was the first Chicana Mexicana to exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. If you've been able to celebrate Dia de los Muertos at any of our museums in the past, you may have seen some of her pieces. Delisa, welcome.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you for joining us here today. My name is Lisa Jaurique, and I'm an artist, scholar, and educator. My areas of specialization include philosophy, religions, art, and with an emphasis in indigenous cultures. I grew up in a very traditional family, and these indigenous traditions were passed down to me from my mom and my grandmother. My nana and great-grandmother were both curanderas. They learned the traditional ways from their parents and grandparents. This includes building of ofrendas for Day of the Dead. In my family, practicing Day of the Dead traditions can be traced back to the earlier 1800s, and I surmise much earlier than that. One of the important symbols used in Day of the Dead celebrations is the butterfly mariposa. In Spanish, papalotl, mariposa, and in Nahuatl, papaloto, in the language of the Aztecs. Papalotos have long been an important animal and symbol in Mesoamerican cultures. Butterfly stories and iconography can be found in Mesoamerican religions, art, and architecture. The earliest replica of a butterfly can be traced back to around 700 BC. Butterflies are valuable pollinators and symbolize growth, cycles of growth, rejuvenation, and regeneration. The Toltecas use butterflies widely in their arts. You can see here from the atop the Pyramid of the Moon, down the Avenue of the Dead to the Pyramid of the Sun. The next photo is the Palace of the Quetzal Papalotl, which is also within the Teotihuacan compound. You can see the columns there. Those columns are decorated with the Quetzal Papalotl. which is basically an amalgamation of the Quetzal bird and the mariposa, the butterfly. So hence the name Quetzal papalotl. The Toltecs and other Mesoamerican cultures understood the necessity of the butterfly for life itself because it pollinated the crops. In the murals of Tepantitla, you can see an image of the great goddess and a tree of life behind her, along with butterflies flitting throughout the mural. Another mural, also found in Tepantitla, which is within the compound of Teotihuacan, shows the butterfly integrated into a pastoral scene where people are farming and singing. Next is an image of a stylized butterfly from Teotihuacan. The butterfly was also very important to the Azteca culture in their belief system as well as their art. Butterflies were the embodiment of the souls of the dead, specifically warriors and women who died in childbirth. This next image is a sculpture of a warrior wearing a butterfly pectoral on his chest, as well as a butterfly in his headdress on top of his head. Butterflies and butterflies and hummingbirds were the embodiment of the souls of dead warriors and women who died in childbirth. The warriors and the women would accompany the Aztec tutelary deity Huitzilopochtli and the sun god Tonatiuh on their daily migration from the heavens to the earth and down through the underworld. Other examples of butterflies in art are example of a stone box with a carved butterfly from it on it, and this is Azteca. Also below it is a butterfly stamp found in funerary articles, and the stamp was used to like stamp the body and or cloth. And next to it, we have a Mixteca vessel made out of pottery showing a monarch butterfly on it. Within the Mesoamerican codices, which are the holy and history books of the Aztecas and Maya, butterflies are used extensively. Symbols of butterflies were also used in ritual makeup, clothing, jewelry, and headdresses. Many deities within the codices wear butterflies in their regalia. Here is an example of a gold nose ring ornament belonging to the water goddess Chalchihuitlicue. And on the left is an image of Chalchihuitlicue from the Codex Borbonicus, and you can see her wearing a butterfly pendant on her nose. Another goddess associated with butterflies is the goddess of beauty, fertility, and abundance, Xochiquetzal. She is also wearing butterflies within her Quetzal feathered headdress and has a butterfly pendant nose ring. And this image is from the Codex Borbonicus. These butterflies were associated with daytime, but there was also a nighttime butterflies. And the goddess associated with night butterflies is Itzpapalotl. Her name means obsidian butterfly. In this depiction, she is wearing butterfly wings, and this image is from the Codex Peleriano Remenses. In this next image, she is a butterfly with obsidian knives throughout her wings. Also, she is in the image on the right, she is depicted as a skeletal warrior goddess seen here from the Borgia Codex. Of course, many of these indigenous beliefs and traditions continue through today. If a butterfly or moth, also known as a tecolotito, entered the house, my nana would say, "Alguien nos está visitando," someone is visiting us, and we would gently take it outside. Killing it would be bad luck. As an artist, my modus operandi has always been to be part of the continuum of Mesoamerican aesthetic traditions, and to use my heritage and upbringing as a foundation for my artwork, which includes murals, paintings, sculptures, and installations, and sometimes performance. Here are some recent butterfly paintings made upon reflection of migration. There are other examples. I have other examples of installations I have made in the past. This one represents the souls of the dead and the archway that welcomes the animas, the souls, into the ofrenda. The next photo is a tree of life on top of a mountain of butterflies. And I also have ofrendas from 2010 associating butterflies with fire and transformation. And it was believed by the Toltecas that butterflies were also a sign of fire and, of course, transformation. These last photos, this is a photo of Mixteca Siwat with butterflies in her headdress. And And these last photos are of Itzpapalotl as the central figure in this installation from 2011. And the most recent installation I've done is from 2018, and then another version of Itzpapalotl. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Muchísimas gracias, Lisa, for sharing the cultural importance of the monarch butterflies. So thank you all for joining us here today and this evening. Since my childhood, I have like this love for like butterflies, and I wear a lot of butterfly jewelries, like the earrings I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see, but I'm having these wearing these butterfly earrings and rings. So they're all around me. I don't have like, well, I can't share, but I have some butterflies hanging on my wall too. So and now just listening to you and like just learning from Alfonso and Christine and Sylvia all about this and how important these butterflies are. So it's just wonderful. So thank you all for sharing that. If anyone is watching at home and there's questions for our monarch butterflies, our experts here, please post them in the chat so they can answer them live. Fantastic. All right, we have a question here from Mary. Is it safe to touch monarch butterfly wings? So Alfonso?
Very good question. Yes, it is safe to touch the butterfly wings. You just have to be careful not to rub it because the wings have scales, and every time you touch it, the scales are going to be attached to your finger, and that is not good for the butterfly. And as long as you wash your hands after you touch the butterfly, it shouldn't be an issue. If you touch another type of butterfly like a moth, those have scales also, but they are much more fragile, so the wings can be damaged. But the monarch is very strong, so it's okay to touch it. Just do it gently, please.
Oh, wow. You could touch a butterfly, but just be gentle, and they have scales? Amazing. Sylvia, would you like to add anything in there to answer the question?
Sure. Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, we try to minimize how much we actually handle the butterflies, and we're very careful. There is a special way to hold them when we do our tagging, so that we are not brushing off those scales any more than we need to. And like I said, we minimize the time that we are handling them and let them go on their way.
Wow, thank you so much. All right, let's see what other question we have. Oh, there it is. Is goldenrod a food for monarchs on their way back to Mexico? All right, let's start with Sylvia, and then we'll go to Alfonso.
I would say that typically monarchs are coming north in the springtime, and goldenrod doesn't typically flower until summer or fall. So yes and no, I guess. If a monarch butterfly is nearby when the flower is blooming, it's possible that it will locate that and feed there. Alfonso, do you want to add to that?
Yes, I think goldenrod is a good food plant for a nectar plant for monarch butterflies. I have seen them chasing or chasing other butterflies trying to get into those flowers so they can drink the nectar. As they are migrating south, the butterflies will take any plant that they can get, any flower they can get, because they need to accumulate, as I said, a lot of nectars that they transform into fat, so they can hold the time that they are in Mexico without eating. So yes, it's a good food plant. I mean, nectar plant.
Fantastic. All right, here's another question. All right, we're going from butterflies to Carissa. Where can we see this wonderful artwork? So I think this will be for Delisa.
I'm online on Instagram and also on Facebook. On Instagram, my name is Liza, and I'm the only one, but I compete with a river in, I think, Budapest called Tisa. So, so Liza, or on Facebook, my name is Liza Haudeki, and my artwork is basically there. I'm also in a blog, but I don't really update that much. So Instagram is always like being updated, as well as Facebook. Thank you for asking.
It's wonderful. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, way to get to talk to people. All right, we have a question from Michelle from Maryland. Had my second year of milkweed and monarchs. Should I seek a certain type of milkweed for my area? This is from Bowie, Maryland. Be specific here. Okay, Sylvia.
Sure. So from Bowie, Maryland, you're in the DC area, and there's 3 types of milkweed that we recommend people in our area. All are Asclepias. So there's the tuberosa, which is the orange one, the incarnata, which is the swamp milkweed, and the, I'm blanking on the name of the third one. There's a common milkweed.
Common milkweed.
Syriaca, right? Which is also a big pink one. So any of those 3 are native to our region and are great. Alfonso, if you wanted to add more to that.
Yeah, the most common milkweed around this area of Maryland, Washington, D.C. is the common milkweed, Asclepias syriaca, and it's a very good source of food for monarch migrating to Mexico. Studies that we did years ago demonstrate that 90% of the monarchs that arrive into Mexico have fed into Asclepias syriaca, or the common milkweed. So that is the most common and the one that the monarchs love to eat on. Thank you.
Wonderful. So definitely keeping a local to your region. Make sure those are the right types of milkweeds we have. Fantastic. We have another question here. Oh my God, these questions are just flying in. Okay, I noticed that when I plant, I can't say this, Tontiini, it attracts a lot of monarchs. This flower
Tithonia.
Well, yes.
Tithonia.
This flower is also known as the Mexican sunflower. Is there a connection with the migration and Mexican culture? Thank you. So who would like to answer this question about the Mexican sunflower? All right, we'll go Sylvia or Alfonso.
I don't know as much about the cultural representation, but we also plant a lot of Tithonia in our gardens around the campus because they do love it so much, and it keeps blooming very late into the season. So it's a great nectar plant for them, and it's beautiful. So I confirm that your observation is correct, and Alfonso and Felisa might be able to add to the cultural significance.
Yeah, the butterflies go to that plant, to those flowers, because they produce a lot of nectar, and butterflies love nectar, especially when they're migrating. So that is the main reason why they go there. I don't think they identify it as a Mexican plant or another type of plant. They are just looking for the nectar and the beauty of the color that attracts them.
All right. Lisa, do you know a little bit about it? Do you have a knowledge?
Of the Mexican sunflower, I don't. Other than I know that in pre-Columbian cultures, the maguey, and still today, the maguey was an important plant to be fertilized by or pollinated by the butterflies. So that is also something that is an important plant. But I mean, it doesn't grow that much in the Northeast or such.
Well, this is wonderful just to hear like the different names for different plants, or like being very specific to the area or to a time or a zone. So this is really useful and information here that we're sharing and we're learning about. So this is going to be our last question for today. All right. So we have Cynthia. This is for Delisa. Are there other insects that appear in Aztec depictions, or does the butterfly have a unique distinction?
Yes. Okay. So the butterfly was very important, as well as the nighttime butterflies, which are moths. So moths were also seen as very important to the culture, and you can see the depictions within the codices and also within the regalia of the gods and goddesses. And butterflies weren't only associated with female goddesses, but other male gods as well wore butterfly regalia, such as Xochipilli. Let's see. Also, the chapulín, which is the grasshopper, was very important because they would ravage the crops. So he was seen as like something that was like distant. The spider, the araña, was also very, very important. And there's a big distinction within Azteca culture, Mexica culture, and religion between daytime insects and nighttime insects. So again, the moth and the spider were nighttime insects. Also, one of my least favorite insects in the world, the alacrán, the scorpion, was a nighttime insect, and he's found within, or she is found within the Aztec codices. And I've been stung multiple times by scorpions, so I do not have a love for them whatsoever. So those are basically the main insects that are associated within the Mexica and Aztec religions and culture.
Oh my goodness, you've been stung, you've been by scorpions. Oh, that's scary. I'm not a fan of insects at all. I see them and I just like
little tiny scorpions, like the size about 1/8 of an inch when they're babies. Yeah.
So we got butterflies, insects, history, traditions, cultural aspects that are now part of our contemporary life. It's just wonderful to be able to share all of these and how they're all interrelated and related and important to Dia de los Muertos, and how this beautiful monarch butterfly plays such a significant role in it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to each of our panelists for joining us today. For those questions we weren't able to get to, we'll send out a follow-up email to everyone who registered with additional information. You can follow all of our wonderful panelists on Facebook, on social media. We get all our resources out there. So thank you. Muchísimas gracias for being here and sharing your knowledge with us. So now I'd like to turn the conversation to another important part of the celebrating Dia de los Muertos, which is masks. Masks have long been featured in Dia de los Muertos, and this tradition could be traced back at least 3,000 years. It's a really long time. And the Olmec Valley in Mexico, where indigenous communities have long celebrated Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, we have depictions of skeletons and masks, and many artists keep this beautiful practice going on with creating new masks. Now we'll join Zarco Guerrero, a sculptor, mask maker, and performance artist working in Mesa, Arizona, as he works on a new mask. And we'll see a little bit of his studio in just a sec.
Here I am, painting a calaca, also known as a Day of the Dead mask. And in this particular case, it's my own personal style of la calaca, carved out of wood, in this case, basswood. And I'm painting this calaca kind of in a semi-traditional style with my own little flair. And this time I've added the mariposa, also called the papalotl in Nahuatl language, that is a symbol of many things. And one thing in particular right now is migration. And what a wonderful symbol to express the whole idea of transformation as well as migration. The calaca, or the painted skull, is the most iconic image of Mexican art, going all the way back to the Olmecs, 3,000 years ago. So we use the calaca extensively for Dia de los Muertos to represent and to acknowledge our ancestors and the philosophy of life and death that we inherited from them. And so as artists, we perpetuate and disseminate these images through our artwork, and with them, the knowledge and the information, be it literal or metaphorical. We share it nonetheless with our community, and in doing so, we enrich the cultural life of our community and celebrate such things as the ancient symbols and the language as well. So in our celebration of Dia de los Muertos, we use the calaca extensively as a mask. And so we decided that we wanted to change our name from Dia de los Muertos to something more decolonized, and we chose the term Miquixli, because the calaca in the Nahuatl language is Miquixli and doesn't represent death, but represents transition from this life to the next. It also represents letting go of the ego and letting go of the flesh. When we do so, we're free. We're free from the burdens of the flesh and the bones, and we're free from the absurdities imposed upon us by our egos. So those many beautiful philosophical ideas that are expressed when using the mariposa, the papalotl, and in this case, decorating the calaca or the Miquixli with that sacred symbol that nowadays has a whole new set of meanings for not only people who migrate, but also people who are in transition, in transformation, in whatever form. So this calaca, this year I'm dedicating to the papalotl, the mariposa, and the monarch butterfly.
What a treat to be able to see into an artist's studio like that. I think Zarco created a beautiful calaca. So I've been busy working on my beautiful mask here. We're sharing a link on the event page and again in the chat to some mask templates that you could download, you could print and decorate yourself at home, just like the one I have right here. The templates have instructions on how to cut out your mask and use some string or elastics to wear it. Some of us at the museum have been very busy working on decorating some of our beautiful masks all week. I had a lot of fun decorating mine. I did a little bit. And as you can see, we have these beautiful, beautiful images of some of our other masks that other people in our museum spend time on doing. So now to wrap up our event this evening, we have a special performance by Los Angeles-based Grammy-winning band Quetzal. The group was able to share a few songs for us this evening, so I hope you all enjoy. And you can enjoy as you're listening to the music as well.
Gonzalez, and I'm the singer for Quetzal. We're very excited to be here. And this first one is called Jarocho Elegua, and it's a son jarocho inspired tune that is an ode to the African deity Elegua, which is the beginning, the god of the crossroads, beginnings and ends, and we hope you enjoy it.
Caminos me enseñas ese legua yo escogí. Espero que sea lo mejor para mí.
Soy sastre de mi propia vida, del traje que escojo medir. Me pongo, me quito y me pongo el capricho, manda sin rendir. Es ahora que pido tu permiso antes de partir. Con respeto te pido este traje que vivo no sea mi fin.
Es ahora que pido tu permiso antes de partir. Con respeto te pido este traje temido no sea mi fin.
Bonito soy yo, bonito en mi traje yo. Juguetes y dulces te ofrezco a ti, el Ecuador.
Bonito soy yo, bonito es mi traje yo. Juguetes y dulces yo ofrezco a ti, el Ecuador.
Soy sastre de mi propia vida, del traje que escojo medir. Me pongo, me quito y me pongo el capricho, manda sin rendir. Soy sastre de mi propia vida, del traje que escojo medir. Me pongo, me quito y me pongo el capricho, manda sin rendir. Me pongo, me quito, bonito mi traje bonito. Me pongo, me quito, bonito mi traje bonito. Ay, bonito soy yo, ay, bonito soy yo.
Bonito mi traje bonito.
Ay, bonito, bonito soy yo.
Bonito mi traje.
Juguetes y dulces que ofrezco a ti, el Ecuador. Ay, el Ecuador.
Bonito mi traje bonito.
El Ecuador. El Ecuador. El Ecuador. El Ecuador. Ay, más tranquilo. El Ecuador. Para su ayo, como que la barata más que negra, o paraguayo, echuotara, como ñana barata más que negra, crawl, walk, run, fly, earth, fire, water, sky, by through heedless speeds with a gentle cry. Crawl, walk, run, fly, earth, fire, water, sky, by through heedless speeds with a gentle cry. Spirits grew without a sound. Tears grew without a sound. Tears grew without a sound. Journey, memory, remember together. Pictures, flowers, candles, a feather. Battle healer takes flight, imagining forever. Battle healer takes flight, imagining forever.
Por la acera corre el río, que a los hombres fue domando de ese río, que se vale salirse de vez en cuando.
El gente en la sierra y en la graveta no aguanta con velocidad de un ave, baja y pronto se le va. Isa navegante Isa,
el fuego y anda frío,
en navío de justicia,
en su casa presidió.
no hay delitos en la tez
Lanza el fuego y anda frío,
de esta morena mestiza.
en su casa presidió.
Bataleando cual torrente atormentando, sobrevivo, voy flotando, saber dónde, cómo y cuándo. Isa navegante Isa,
El fuego y anda frío,
en navío de justicia,
en su casa crecería.
no hay delitos en la tez
Lanza el fuego y anda frío,
de esta morena mestiza.
en su casa crecería.
Isa navegante Isa,
Fuego y anda frío,
en navío de justicia,
en su casa crecería.
no hay delito en la tez
El fuego y anda
de
frío,
esta morena mestiza. Isa navegante Isa,
fuego y anda frío,
en navío de justicia,
en su casa crecería.
no hay delito en la tez
El fuego y anda frío,
de esta morena mestiza.
That was great. I was dancing backstage, and I hope you were as well in your homes and your casitas. And if you definitely want to hear more about from Quetzal, definitely check out the recordings on our museum's YouTube page, our Smithsonian Folklife Archive, and on their website. Thank you again to everyone for todos for tuning in this evening for this illumination program. We're grateful to have been able to still celebrate Dia de los Muertos with all of you. And that we were able to spend this time with folks we might not have been able to do so or to join us at our museums in New York or DC. Please be sure to join us on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for more Dia de los Muertos celebrations. Be well, take care, and good night. Gracias.